let us move on to the next one.
Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas, huh? Fuck, I haven't heard of Lil Nas in a while. I never really gave a shit about him, so what has he done to himself?
Was just arrested in Los Angeles, ended up in the hospital, and then got...
Wait, was he naked then? Considering there's white, I think he was just in nothing but underwear.
Lil Nas X
and
was
white
arrested
boots.
in Los Angeles, ended up in the hospital, and then got booked for hitting a police officer. So early Thursday morning,
that escalated.
police received reports of a man walking around Ventura Boulevard wearing nothing but his underwear and cowboy boots. And obviously, as we now know, the man was the popular musician Lil Nas X, known for his hit Old Town Road, which basically became the most famous kids song in a while. And then he followed essentially making every kid's favorite song in America with a whole plethora of controversial social media stunts that kept him relevant. Because he had this massive kid audience, and then he started doing stuff like putting real blood in shoes he sold, and then lap dancing the devil in music videos. And
I'm sorry, he did what now?
And stuff like putting real blood in
Jesus Christ.
shoes he sold, and then lap dancing the devil in music videos, and so on and so on. Those are the first two that came to mind. But because of those past social media stunts, people are now asking, hey, was this a real breakdown, or is this another attempt at headlines? What's going on here? Well, let's get into it. So early Thursday morning, multiple videos began surfacing online of him wandering around the streets of LA. He was singing, taking off his shirt, and even put a traffic cone on his head, basically acting like if he was filming another music video, except the backup dancers are police officers and the special effects, they're all in his head. Speaking of police officers though, reports say that when they actually showed up, he charged at them, with one officer claiming that Lil Nas X even punched him in the face. So I don't know if that's the best way to restart the career, but hey, Public Information Officer Charles Miller said that upon arrival, the suspect charged at officers and was taken into custody. He was transported to a local hospital for possible overdose and placed under arrest for battery on a police officer. So after a few hours at the hospital, once they realized he was physically safe to transfer, they moved him to Valley Jail in Van Nuys. Officially, he's been booked on misdemeanor charges for obstructing an officer and suspicion of battery. As of now, he's still being held. Now, this whole situation isn't just coming out of thin air. A few months back, Lil Nas X actually told his fans that his life had been pretty difficult in the last couple of years.
Hey guys, don't look at my furniture-less house, but I want to say, because I don't want you guys to feel like...
Why are you going? Why are you just going every time? Jesus Christ.
Like I'm being flaky and very, very all over the place, but I was...
I'm sorry, dude. Stop fucking... Get that tongue off the roof of your mouth. Stop sucking your mouth whilst you're speaking.
For a long time, you know, these last few years were pretty difficult for me. They have been pretty difficult for me, and I'm just now like arriving to this place of feeling confidence in myself and what I'm doing, and I'm trying to make sure I put attention towards my music and my vision and the creativity of it all. And most of all, I really want to make sure I have fun this time around. I don't think I got to have as much fun during the Montero era because I was more overly focused on, I don't know, making sure
being demonic,
the songs did well.
He said he's been losing confidence, struggling with mental health, and that his last music era drained him so much that he just wants to make it fun again. And honestly, yeah, degrading yourself on camera for millions of people to see is not good for your mental health. So I definitely see his point here. But he's also been open about how he's coped, smoking a lot, using psychedelics, and dealing with hypochondria after his grandma passed in 2018. And that's basically where you're afraid that you are sick or will die in some way. And I think this is a little bit common because I struggle with this as well, but it comes in waves with me because I think it's some trauma response because I've had a handful of friends my age just pass away recently. So essentially you do the, oh wait, what's that weird feeling I have? Oh wait, why is my heart racing suddenly? Wait, why am I breathing like that? And then you Google it, and then Google's essentially like, yeah, you're gonna die. And then you're like, oh now obviously that's an exaggeration.
Then you go to WebMD, it's clearly a heart attack and AIDS.
And most times you're completely fine. But if you mix that whole charade with, God forbid, any psychedelics or anything else, that's a bad cocktail. It's safe to say you can easily spiral on that. And not to mention earlier this year, he landed in the...
Hold on. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Might be a bit too recent. Come on. Come on. Yeah, no, it's too recent. Damn it. I was trying to get up the Randy Marsh ketamine. I'm in a hole. I am in a hole.
Hospital after part of his face literally stopped working. But he later said that was temporary, but still, that's pretty alarming considering he's only 26 years old. So yeah, behind all the outrageous headlines and troll level stunts, there's clearly been a lot going on with him. And it's very possible that it was just a breaking point as well, or maybe even a cry for help. But here's where things get a little bit complicated because people aren't fully convinced that this was a psychotic break. It's not exactly news that Lil Nas X has a long history of turning controversy and taking that and turning it into, you know, streams on his music or plugging his new project, essentially. Because as I mentioned to some of those stories earlier, you have the Satan shoes. I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but Lil Nas X, he dropped a handful of sneakers with a company called Mischief in 2022.
I had not heard about it.
Essentially, they dropped actual human blood in 666 shoes, which they then sold. And Nike actually sued them for this, but they sold out in less than a minute. And if I remember correctly, the YouTuber Justin Wing, I think, got a pair.
I just Lil Nas X, and I have good news and bad news.
The good news may be that the Old Town Road performer is getting a lot of attention lately. The bad news could be that some of that attention has been controversial and has even led to a lawsuit. 21-year-old rapper Lil Nas X timed the release of his newest video with the launch of a pair of sneakers, and both have made headlines.
But here he essentially created the most
He's absolutely insane
in history. And of course, you also have the Montero video where he pole danced down to hell and gave Satan a lap dance. And that outrage...
I'm sorry, he did what now?
Turned into streams, and boom, one of his biggest hits were born. And then of course he had his fake pregnancy photos, which were just full-on maternity shots, belly out, flowers, everything. And the internet, as usual, was very split on that. Some people were outraged, some people were laughing at it, other people were like, bro, what are you doing? And then you also had the whole J Christ rollout where he used crucifixion imagery to once again promote his music. And because of, you know, what he did there and his past music,
that wouldn't have gone over well with Christians.
But it kept his name relevant, and therefore that led to streams. Now you have this whole pattern of Lil Nas X. He doesn't just drop music, he drops chaos and then follows it with music. So basically his branding was weaponizing shock, which brings us to now. Half naked on Ventura Boulevard, cowboy boots on, charging at cops like it's some kind of GTA side mission, then ending up in the hospital for a possible overdose before getting booked. Did this really happen, or is this another stunt? Now, the first thing that's a little bit interesting is all of these images and clips, they're coming from TMZ. Every other news outlet I'm seeing cover this hasn't been able to get a response from Lil Nas X or his team, and that could be because he's laying low.
That is suspicious because fucking isn't TMZ just purely a famous person hunting site? They just report on what famous people do. So he's going, oh, we talk to them, it'll generate all the buzz. This is suspicious as fuck.
But I kind of doubt that. Also, anyone else notice how fresh his shoes and underwear are? Like, if someone is like ODing and like fully wiling out, are your underwear and shoes that pristine? I don't know. Like, for someone who is completely losing it, he looks very well put together. But I mean, on paper it looks like a meltdown, but with Lil Nas X, you never really know. Because here's the thing. The line between personal crisis and performance arts, that's always been pretty blurry. I mean, is this just his own version of trying to fabricate Britney shaving her head? Because I mean, if you look at some of these clips from TMZ, it looks like he's singing to a camera.
This news comes after Lil Nas completely wiped his Instagram August 19th, before posting a series of cryptic pics as well as teasing snippets of several unreleased songs. With one of the posts including a selfie of the 26-year-old wearing a fur coat, cowboy hat, and bright red lipstick with the caption, "Oh no, she's gone mad. Crazy, I tell you."
Again, it's hard to say, but currently Lil Nas X is being held without bail. And no, that doesn't mean the judge decided he's a supervillain who can never leave jail. It's actually just really odd that he's not
How high is his bail?
Offered bail. In fact, LA County has this like zero bail policy where most people with low level charges They just get released right away. He'll have to wait until his first court appearance on Monday, August 25th, though, when a judge will take a look at the whole situation and decide bail, release with conditions, or keep him in. Again, this is pretty odd. So either something fishy is happening here, or this assault on an officer was actually pretty serious. Now, let's talk the charges, because this menu is not short. The big one is battery on a peace officer, and here's the kicker. It can either be a slap on the wrist misdemeanor or felony with up to 3 years in prison. So pretty wide range there. Depends on whether anyone actually got hurt. Then you have your classic resisting arrest, which is usually a misdemeanor worth up to a year in jail. But if prosecutors decided that he treated it too similar to a WWE match, they could bump it up to resisting an executive officer by force or threats, which can hit either as a misdemeanor or a felony. And let's not forget assault on a peace officer, public intoxication, or even under the influence of a controlled substance if hospital tests come back messy. What's probably not on the table though is indecent exposure, because as wild as white underwear and cowboy boots look on Ventura Boulevard at 6 in the morning, it's technically not illegal. And honestly, definitely not the worst thing that you've seen on Ventura Boulevard. Also, it's odd to me that people in LA called the cops on something like that, because there's definitely bigger fish to fry. Now, obviously, the bigger problem here is running at the cops like you're in some linebacker tryouts for an NFL team. Just trying to visualize this whole situation, it just seems like a fever dream. So yeah, bottom line, Lil Nas X is stuck in jail until Monday. Then a judge decides whether to cut him loose or make him sweat longer. If this stays at misdemeanor level, he'll probably get treatment, probation, and some kind of like diversion program. But if the DA decides to push the felony button, he's looking at some real time. And I'm really not trying to be insensitive here, but it's kind of a lot like brand promo, but like there's no proof of it, so I'm kind of stuck in between here. And obviously, if this is not a stunt, then it's just kind of heartbreaking, because he has been open about mental health struggles, self-medicating, and even dealing with partial paralysis earlier this year. Maybe this was just a really bad night.
That was
really
a shame.
History tells us one thing.
Didn't know about that. Honestly, all I've heard is some of the weird shit Lil Nas has done. Definitely hadn't heard about the shoes, but put him into a mental institution for a little bit. Let him get some actual help. Self-medicating has to stop.
Lil Nas X, he thrives on headlines. Doesn't matter if it's sneakers, music videos, handcuffs. Chaos is definitely a part of his marketing plan, and if he really does drop new music after this, well, don't say I was surprised. But hey, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like on this video, and YouTube thinks you'll like this one, so you should probably check that one out, and I'll see you in the next one.
Which one, huh?
Peace.
Fucking Boondocks. Okay. Well, thank you for informing us about what Lil Nas has been up to. What next?